Heard the phrase serial killer and know what it means, whether it's from a movie we've seen or a story we've read in a newspaper or seen on television. In the following we present to you some of the most cruel serial criminals that the history of mankind has known. 1. Ted Bundy. He was one of the bloodiest serial killers in the U.S. He kidnapped, raped and killed at least 36 women between 1974 and 1977 in 7 different states. Some claim that Bundy may have killed over 100 women. His charm and intelligence made him famous during his trial, as he was his own lawyer. It was the first murder trial to be televised, and his case inspired many novels and movies about serial killers. Bundy eventually confessed to the crimes and was sentenced to death by electric chair in 1989. 2. Harold Frederick Shipman. It was initially believed that he had killed 218 people, but later it turned out that the number of victims exceeded 250. Shipman practiced in 2 practices in London between 1972 and 1998, the period in which he committed the murders. He was respected in his community, but colleagues became suspicious because of the high death rate in his area and the large number of cremation certificates for older patients. Shipman was later found to be injecting patients with lethal doses of diamorphine, forging their wills to inherit large sums of money and burning their bodies to destroy all evidence. He was convicted in January 2000 of 15 murders and received 15 life sentences without parole. He hanged himself in his cell in 2004. 3. Richard Trenton Chase. He did not impress with the 6 crimes committed, but above all with the fact that he drank their blood, hence the nickname of the vampire. He shot his victims, had sex with them, then washed himself with their blood, which he finally drank. At the age of 25, he was committed against his will to a psychiatric facility after injecting rabbit blood into his veins, but was released a year later and handed over to his mother. On December 29, 1977, Chase committed his first murder and was arrested only a month later, during which time he had killed 5 more people. A few months after he was imprisoned, he committed suicide in his cell. He was 28. 4. Jeffrey Dahmer. A native of Milwaukee, Dahmer killed 17 people between 1978 and 1991, most of them young black men. He committed his first crime when he was only 18 years old. He lured his victims to his apartment, where he killed them, then dismembered their bodies and kept their skulls as souvenirs. He was caught after one of the victims managed to escape from his home and led the police to the scene of the gruesome murders. Dahmer was sentenced to 900 years in prison, but in 1994 he was killed by another inmate. 5. John Wayne Gacy. A construction worker, John Wayne Gacy was involved in various volunteer activities, including clowning at children's parties. He liked to have sex with men younger than himself, whom he lured with the promise of jobs. Gacy came under suspicion in 1978 when a 15-year-old boy, last seen with him, disappeared. A short time later, police descended on his home and discovered nearly 30 bodies buried in the basement of his Des Plaines home. He was convicted of 33 counts of murder, with other counts of rape and torture, and was executed by lethal injection in 1994. 6. H. H. Holmes. Pharmacist Holmes was one of the first serial killers in American history. He confessed to 27 murders, 9 of which were confirmed. However, he may have killed close to 200 people. In 1893, Holmes moved to Chicago and turned a three-story hotel into a real torture house. He built a maze of torture chambers, gas chambers, and airtight chambers where he left his victims to slowly suffocate and die of starvation and dehydration. Young women were particularly targeted, whom Holmes would seduce, lure them into the hotel, and then throw them down a special slide into the cellar. In the end, the man was caught and sentenced to be hanged. After Holmes' death, the building was consumed by flames in 1895. 7. Joachim George Kroll. Kroll was a German serial killer and necrophile from Duisburg, who over the course of 20 years killed and ate 14 people, including several little girls. He was caught in 1976 after one of his neighbors complained to the police that the pipes in the building were constantly clogging. The specialist who arrived on the scene found that the pipes were blocked by a human stomach. All the evidence incriminated Kroll, who was eventually arrested. At the time of his arrest, the police found evidence of cannibalism everywhere in his home.